Welcome once again to Octane Mobile Gaming with yours truly, iOctane. So today we are doing our possible deck combination, and I'm going to jump right in because I don't want to make this video too long. First and foremost, there's quite a few decks in the game that you can actually use at the moment. Let's go into Commander, Dark Commander, and we're going to have a look at some of the decks. So, Commander. So we have two decks that we got this year that can be used. It's the Easter deck, which is not too bad. It's actually a good deck. You can use this deck, or you can use this deck, the Golem deck. I'm going to use a Golem deck, and the reason why I'm going to use a Golem deck is because I'm going to rely primarily for the solo bosses and the guild bosses. I'm going to rely primarily on this card, Freedom Fighter. Freedom Fighter and Hard-Won Guerrillas Hard-Won Guerrillas, let's get it right, are two of the best utility cards in the game. Freedom Fighter and Hard-Won Guerrilla are the only two cards from the genre of nuke damage that has got the best nuke damage. What they do is they create 2 Dark Power Gem 3s and 2 Dark Power Gem 4s and 3 Dark Power Gem 2s, and they receive a attack buff. What the attack buff is, after the main damage or the main attack, they deal 100% of that attack back to the bosses, but that attack is then multiplied by 5 if you use 3 keys, making them really powerful. Those are the only 2 cards in the game that's got that particular skill. There's 3 other cards that came after, one of which is the Relentless Scholars. Relentless Scholars, however, the nuke damage isn't times 5 even if you use 3 keys. That was the nerf that was brought in after Hard-Won Guerrillas. So all the other cards that has got the same battle seal after Hard-Won Guerrillas isn't really as useful as Freedom Fighters and Hard-Won Guerrillas. Okay, so with that in mind, what I'm doing, I'm using Usurpers of Power to give me the 9-time boost from the killer skill. They are going to create power gems for me as well. Glorious Golem. Glorious Golem is primarily there to produce power gems for me. It produces power gems passively and it produces power gems actively. What I mean by actively is when you activate a battle skill, it produces power gems. Freedom Fighters is gonna be one of my main damage dealer, and that is the reason why I'm using Usurpers of Power. Usurpers of Power is a Slayer card, so it's going to boost Freedom Fighter because Freedom Fighter is also a Slayer card. I know it's a Commander event, but in the current genre you can use deck of different affinity, you can use deck that's Slayer. The genre that we have now, it's really good. It's really unique if you get good decks. Regal Revolutionaries is also a Slayer card. It's also Immortal Killer. This one is quite good as well. What it will do, it will create 5 Power Gem 2s plus 1 additional for every 100 Immortal intensity. It will also increase Immortal Killer's attack by 180%, which is really good for 1 turn. It's got a 3-turn cooldown, which is really good. Freedom Fighters has got a 2-turn cooldown, which is quite good. Glorious Golem has got a 3-turn cooldown as well, which is good. And Usurpers of Fortune has got a 3-turn cooldown as well, which is really good. So the deck is in sync. Apart from Freedom Fighter, everything else is 3-turn cooldown, but it's quite good. Now, the pièce de resistance is High Performance Unit Area. This card is the card that's gonna increase the attack output of all immortal cards by 2,500%. What I could do, I could actually remove this card, Regal Revolutionary, and add one of the support card from the Golem deck, which is just Unit Area, and that will give me an extra boost to my Freedom Fighter. However, You can do that if you haven't got Regal Revolutionaires. It's not too bad. However, you'd have to wait until your intensity gets up to 200 intensity. I like decks that are quite quick, so that's why I'm not using that one. So as I said, high performance unit area is going to be my Pionstant Resistance. That's the one that's gonna give me the massive bang for my buck. It's also a 3-turn cooldown. It will become immune to damage for 1 turn. It will heal you for 5000% of area recovery. It will cleanse all debuff, and that's the Pionstant Resistant, cleansing all debuff. We've got a new debuff that's called Slumber. It will affect your passive. My deck has got lots of passive on it, so I want to keep that debuff off my cards. This is the card that's gonna do it for me. So this card is really important on this deck. Okay, Supercharge will reduce your damage by 25% for 3 turns. Supercharge lasts for 3 turns, so for 3 turns you can actually deal extra increase of 2500% of your attack, and only 1 instant of Supercharge can be active. What it means by 1 instance is if you've got 2 high performance area, you can only have 1 instance of that card's Supercharge active. However, if you've got unit area, you can have her Supercharge along with the Supercharge from high performance. So that's not bad. So that is the deck that I'm using for the guild bosses and the solo bosses. This is the one that I'm using for the wave bosses. That is the Crusade. It works quite well. We're gonna put together a quick deck. If you haven't got the cards that I just showed you, this is a deck that you could put together, which is quite useful as well. So Commander. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look for the cards from some of the cards from this event. I've only got 2 support card, which is okay. I love the support card. I think it's a good support card. Not really brilliant. If it was brilliant, it would be creating 3 power gems, or say 2 power gems over 3 turns, and it can be increased if you've got some form of status on the board, but that's never gonna happen. So this is your average support card. What it does, it creates 8 dark gems, quite good, quite useful, and it heals for 600% of HP for all Dark Noble Killer heroes. That, well, I'm reading the wrong thing. It creates 8 dark gems and it heals for 10,000% of hero recovery. Quite good. It's got haste on it. It's got a 2-turn cooldown. You could ask some more, but I think that's quite good. I love the artwork. I keep going on about the hard work. This card reminds me of Pink, the singer. It looks a lot like Pink. Pink is one of my favorite singers. What you can do, you can put Chromatic Dragon on board to give yourself the killer skill, the 400% boost. You can also add the other cards from the Chromatic Dragon if you've got them. If you haven't got the cards from the Chromatic Dragon, what you can do, look and see what you've got in your collection. You can add cards that will give you power gems. So this one is a good one, and this one will destroy up to 16 non-dark gem, and it will start with 4 and it increase by 4 for every 100 skill point. It will create 3 dark power gem 4s. It will also heal for 150% of your recovery for every dark gem destroyed. Then it will create 1 dark power gem 2 for every 5 dark gem that's on the board. So if you need more heal, you activate it, and you activate it before all the rest of the cards and get a heal based on the amount of gems that you've destroyed. If you need more power gems on the board, you activate it last, so it will create its maximum amount of power gems. So you've got 35 power gems on the board. Divide that by 5. That's 7 5 35. You get an extra 7 power gems plus the ones that it created originally, which is 3. So you will get 10 dark power gems from this card alone if you've got a 4 board of gems. So it's not a bad card to add. So let's go and put it on board. So let's find our moon fantasy. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where? There it is. You can just look for cards that create power gems and you can stick it on board. Depends on what you've got. I've got quite a number of cards that create power gem. You might not have those cards. However, you can stick, if you've got master collection card like this one. Let's see what this one does. It creates 6 dark power gem 4s. It increases dark commander attack by up to 40% for 1 turn at a rate of 10% plus an additional 10% per 100 skill points. If there are 5 or more stacks of showtime active, creates an additional 6 dark power gem 4s and increase attack for the next turn as well. So this is not a bad card, and this is not a bad card that we can use. If you've got this master collection card, haven't got the ultimate form but have got the master collection card, it is one that you can use. You can use the card that gives you showtime. I think that is the support card. The support card gives you showtime. I'm not going to put the support card on board because I think I've got enough cards that can create power gems. What we're going to do now, we're going to add our relics on board. So if you're using it for wave fights, you don't need to break shields. If you're not using it for wave fights, you need to break shield. So because we are using it for wave fights, I'm gonna add my ultimate relic on board, and I'm gonna add my rare relic on board, and I'm gonna add all the relics that I've got on board. I'm also gonna add my relic for my fantasy, which is ultimate relic. It's this one, and that's it for me. This one, I would say, I think it should be able to perform quite well at this one, Diamond League. So let's go ahead and see if it will perform quite well at the Diamond League. So I'm not going to show you all the decks going through all the wave fights. I'm going to show you 2 wave fight, and I'm going to show you 1 guild boss fight, because I don't want to make the video too long. Now, so this is my first setup. This is the Glorious Golem deck going through a wave fight, and as you can see at the moment, I'm producing gems and power gems. So your Glorious Golem deck produce a lot of gems and power gems passively. If you activate high performance area, she will make you supercharge, giving you an ability to produce a lot more power gems passively. So now we're gonna be supercharged because we've taken the damage, and I'm just gonna match, and on the next turn, because I'm supercharged, I'm gonna produce far more power gems on the board. So there you go, full board of power gem passively. I haven't even activated the battle skills of my cards that actually produces power gems actively. I got that mixed up. I should say loads of power gem produced passively. I've not even activated my battle skills that gives me power gem actively. So now we're gonna use our skills that produce power gem actively. Chromatic Dragon will produce gems over time, so we just activate the master collection card and the ultimate form, and let's see the damage output, and that takes out the boss relatively easy. So that's one combination you could consider. It works good, it's quite fine. I think its Golem deck is quite a brilliant deck. It's a really good utility deck to have. It's the retro deck that we got, or revival deck, depends on what you want to call it. So you could go through that vault and try and get that deck if you haven't got it. It's a really good deck to have. Up next, we're gonna have a look at none other than the deck that we just put together. So what we're gonna do, go to dark separate the sheep from the wolves. We're gonna use the glorious golem, and we're gonna look at this deck in action. Now this deck should be quite good, not brilliant but quite good. The support card has got a 2-turn cooldown. The deck overall, the current deck has got a 2-turn cooldown, making it quite good. It's not a bad deck. Is it a brilliant deck? No, it's not a brilliant deck, but it is a nice deck to have. Going forward, I think the ultimate farm and the ultra rare will be a good utility card, but the ultimate farm definitely is a good utility card. The ultra rare doesn't produce power gems, which for me makes it quite weak. But saying that, it's not a bad utility card. It will boost decks. However, we've had our 2 Noble Killer deck already, so it won't become useful until probably next year when you got a next Dark Noble Killer deck. You can add it to other Noble Killer deck, but will it work quite well because it doesn't produce any dark gems or power gems, so it would be quite difficult powering it up. That's why I said it's not a powerful card. So here we go. So what we're gonna do now, if we activate our Master Collection card first, Chromatic Dragon, 2 support cards, and then activate Fantasy, we should get relatively good amount of power gems on the board, and this will take us through our second wave. We've gone through 2 waves, so we're gonna go on the 3rd wave. And on the 3rd wave, what we want to do, we want to get a bit more power gems on the board, so we're gonna allow Glorious Golems to produce its power gem passively. There you go. We're gonna activate it, and then we're gonna fill up the space with the 2 support card, and then we are going to swap so that didn't take it out, but nevertheless, not to worry. Chromatic Dragon just kicked in and it gave us a bit more power gems on the board, so we're going to swap that as well, and we're going to match up everything, and that should either kill it or take it down a bit more, and that killed it. So the boss is dead, boss is down, so it's not a bad combination to use to go through the wave fight. However, I think it will struggle at the Corellium level, so I think Diamond League is where that particular combination will actually work well. Will it work against the solo boss? You'll probably have to add other cards or move it around, or as I said, if you've got the Glorious Golem deck, it's one to use along with by Freedom Fighters. Really good card to use. So let's go into the guild boss, and we're gonna have a look at guild bosses. So I haven't got enough keys at the moment to fight the Corellian guild boss. So what we're going to do instead is we're gonna look at the Diamond guild boss. I know my deck can take out the Corellian guild boss because that's what I've been using since I started the event, and it works really fantastic. It's powerful, it's quick, it's easy to use, it's enjoyable to use, it is fantastic. This combination is absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely a pleasure to use. I'm enjoying the event particularly because of this deck. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful combo to use. So I highly recommend this particular combination. However, if you haven't got this combination, as I said, if you look at the retro pack, if you can afford it, where it comes, it definitely would take gems because you can't use the season coin to get the Glorious Golem deck, but you could try and see what you could get from the retro pack. Okay, so we're hit by Slumber, and we're hit by Power Gem Silence, but not to worry. Here comes High Performance Uriah to the rescue. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna cleanse everything. There you go. I've cleansed everything. Activate all my battle skills. Swap my power gems. My damage output is over 14 trillion. Not bad. There you go. Over 14 trillion damage. Quite good. And that is just the main attack, not even the nuke attack. So the nuke attack would be that times 5. So it's quite a brilliant combination, one that's absolutely a pleasure to use. So those are some of the combinations that I came up with. As I said yesterday, the main card is a good main card to use. So if you've got 1 or 2 copies of the main card, you can use 3 support card or 2 support card, 1 copy of the main card if you've only got 1. If you've got 2, you can use 2. You can throw something else in there that would give you a bit of power gems, and there you go, you've got a really good deck to use. So do play around with the deck. That's what I do. I like to play around with decks. Even when I've got a deck that really works fantastic, I keep on thinking, what else have I got can work? What else have I got that can work? Have I got something else that can work a bit better? And I keep trying decks over the event, and eventually I might come up with a deck that works better than the one that I've got. Some of the times I've come up with a deck that's really fun to play, but that's me. I play around with the deck. So hopefully the information that I've just given to you is really useful. Try and use cards that are gonna cleanse the debuff, because Slumber is really a nagging one. Power Gem Silence also is really a nagging debuff. So try and get cards that cleanse that. As I said, High Performance Area cleanses it, and I think Unit Area actually cleanses it as well. So those are 2 cards to consider. All right, so that's all I've got for you today. Remember, next week we're gonna see the debut of Gem Crush. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully the deck next week is a really good deck. It's a Slave End, it's Earth deck as well, and I think it's gonna be Chaotic Killer. Next week deck is gonna be a Chaotic Killer, and the deck after that, which is a Light Commander, is also gonna be a Chaotic Killer. So those are 2 Chaotic Killer deck, one after the other. So hopefully next week we a really good deck, and probably that deck, if you get it, could be used the week after for the Light Commander event, if it's a really good deck. Okay, so as always, it's Actain saying thank you guys. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you to all of you guys out there. Can't say enough thank you. It's an encouragement when you guys leave comment. It's an encouragement when you guys subscribe. Really thankful for you guys out there. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Enjoy the event, and peace. Have a great day. Bye for now.